Hello, everyone, and welcome to Awakening Adventures, where we hear real stories from people who have had their spiritual awakening and what they were guided to do with their new awareness. My name is Venus Castleberg, also known as the Home Whisperer, where I use my gift to help real estate agents clear the energy from stuck homes so they can sell with greater ease. And today I am so excited to have my guest, Joel. Joel Holc is a energy awareness coach and an emerging author in the healing arts. His book, The Eggshell Effect, reveals the story of how he discovered the source of his lifetime of illness and how he powerfully transformed his health beyond the limitations set for him by the conventional medical establishment. I am really excited to have this guest with me today, just to ask him some questions about his own personal spiritual awakening and what actually came of that. So, welcome to the show, Joel. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Venus. I appreciate you and I appreciate you putting this event together and keeping this space for people to tap into it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. So, tell me, Joel, a little bit about, let's start with what happened. So, when was your spiritual awakening?
So it was around, in a while, around 2013. About 2013, was when my wow moments became so common and so and frequent. And it was like I had no choice but to wake up. Absolutely.
So, what happened exactly? What was like the pivotal moment that started everything?
Ooh, how much time do we have?
Yeah, plenty.
So in uh, the spring of 2013, uh, I received a call from my sister. I'm originally from Israel, and my family is in Israel, and I received a call from my sister, and she said, "Joel, if you want to see mom alive one more time, you have to come now." And we knew that her days are numbered. It wasn't a surprise. And within 24 hours, I was in Tel Aviv. I was with my mom and I was with her for the last week of her life. I stayed there for another week and then I came back home to Pittsburgh. My two children from my first marriage and my wife, we were all living together. And about the day after I came back home, my wife at the time say I'm leaving. So within a week time, I lost my wife and I lost my mom that I loved them both dearly. And wanting to die, it's an understatement. I didn't want to kill myself, but I would be okay if a truck would just run me over. Like I would be okay with that. And couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe, couldn't function, couldn't do nothing. And still manage with some energy because I still have two kids, but at the time they were teenagers. So they need me to still be engaged, but I was, I was zombie. And eventually, after I was barely living. I asked myself the most important question is, how did they get here? And this is the most important question that I think that I ask myself in my life. Probably one of the most important. Like, what happened? When I was a kid, I never dreamed that my life would look the way that it is and what my life would look like at the time. I was running multiple businesses. I did well. Uh, I was just very unsatisfied. And I was battling an autoimmune disease. I was living living in a country that really I mean, I love the US, but as a kid, I never dreamed to live in the US. And if I would dream about living in the US, Pittsburgh definitely will not be the city for me to dream to live in. Like, I don't think nobody outside of Pittsburgh dreaming to live in Pittsburgh. And I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is an amazing city. And battling autoimmune disease, having second marriage falling apart. Like, what happened? How did they get here? And for me to understand how I got here, and most people will probably will do the same thing if they choose to, is I had to start going back in time. Like what happened yesterday, what happened a month ago, what happened a year ago, and this journey took me all the way till 7 years old as I finished my first grade. And the teacher walked around the classroom and gave all the kids their diploma and their report card and welcomed them to second grade. For me, I did not get welcomed to second grade. I had to do first grade again. As a 7 year old, my logic was smart kids going to second grade and stupid kids have to do first grade again. Immediately felt ashamed, embarrassed, abandoned, singled out. All the stuff that kids will feel anyway, but this is when I felt it at that moment. It's not, we cannot survive life without feeling in certain ways like that. But this was the moment that eventually I understood that everything that happened, the reason that I end up in Pittsburgh and the reason that my marriage is falling apart and the reason that my autoimmune disease was that I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, everything that happened in my life started from that moment that completely ripple effect for every day of my life. And as I was going through that and really putting the pieces together, I realized the amount of fear that was sourcing my life, that how all my life I was just surviving and reacting, surviving and reacting, surviving and reacting. And I just got to a point that I couldn't do it anymore and everything fell apart. And this was the opening that I allowed to the spiritual world to come into my life. Met some people. I like stuff that I was terrified to do before because again, it was all about control. Like the last thing that I need to do is let somebody spiritual read my cards or read my palm or do anything outside of what I felt safe. And I remember the first time that um, somebody did a Torah card reading for me, and I was shocked. And Vanessa, I was like, I said, it's impossible. Like, it's like you inside my head. Everything that he was talking about, it was to the T. And and then I met this lady that was doing work with energy and was doing work with gems and was doing it just kept opening up and opening up and opening up and it just really got to a point that from this pain and suffering, I was looking for some place to find peace. And slowly, slowly, this world starts opening up for me. Yeah.
Oh,
And there's some,
that's
there's some
amazing.
more, there's some more. I'm sure we will touch into it in a few minutes. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
Yes, for sure. So for you, it started with your divorce and your mom passing away. What what would you say is the how did you view the world differently from before that time to after?
So prior to this time, and again, it wasn't a day. It was a period of a few months.
Right.
Uh, I would live life as a chess game.
Mm.
I have to calculate everything. I have to know what's coming next. I have to control everything. I have to manipulate. If it doesn't come my way, and I'm not giving, I will manipulate whatever I need to do. Everything have to be calculated, and and everything have a clear destination. And my business that I picked up, it was real estate investments, and it just made sense. Everything had to be calculated. There's not much. I know that you are working in the spiritual world of real estate, but what I was as an investor, everything had to be calculated. The numbers had to make sense, and if the numbers don't make sense, we had to make sure that we will do whatever we need to do to make sure that they make sense. Sometimes we will be in the middle of a deal and we have to figure out a way, hey, we're already in. How can how can we make the deal work? How can we make the investment work? What changes? It was always, it felt like a chess game, and not only in the business world, but more in the emotional part, because I was hiding my secret. The reason that I actually end up being held back in first grade is because eventually I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and I did not learn how to read and write until eighth grade. And by the time that I learned, I was so far behind that this was a secret for me that, I probably read in third grade level at best. So walking a lot around life with this big secret and uh, big shame, and so if I will have to be so calculated how I am emotionally protecting myself, how I emotionally protect my secret, and it was very limitation. Like I would say, if I'm looking at that, it's tremendous amount of limitation. Once the once I was blessed to free myself from all my limitations, it's really I shift my life from a relationship of destination to a relationship of a journey. That life is a journey. Let's see what we can create together. Let's see how we can feel together. Let's see what the feeling. Let's see how we can connect it. Let's see how it's feel to be in alignment. Let's see. It's been an amazing, freeing experience, and it's really operating from trust and not control. And I think that this is probably the major two things of how it shifted my life.
When you say trust, who are you trusting? What are you trusting?
So I trust God today, but I know some people don't relate to God. They can trust themselves, they can trust Mother Earth, they can trust their soul, they can trust whatever is making for me is knowing that I'm in alignment. For me is listening to my body. For me it is um, in between my ribs. So if I feel something is outside of alignment, it's here. If I feel something in alignment, it's here. So just trusting my instinct. Okay. Again, some people are very trusting in God. And again, for me, there is a big difference between religion and God. I have great relationship with God. Religion is a different choice. So really trusting the universe.
I love that. Yeah, I say universe as well, but you know, it's whatever it is for you, right? Like trust in whatever you need to trust for you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you said in your bio, it talked about like you made it and it impacted your health. So how did it impact your health?
So everything is energy. And if we, for myself, it was, and I'm speaking about myself because I can't make any assumption about other people. And I'm pretty sure that I'm not that unique. I didn't experience nothing that nobody else experienced. So I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to that. I will speak about myself not because other people not feeling like that. It's just because I only can speak about myself or the people that I support. So carrying the energy of shame, of not good enough, I'm stupid. All this is take a lot of energy to carry, and it's impact every area of my life. I'm speaking about the dyslexia, and I'm speaking about not able to read and write like now, hey, this is what I had for breakfast. But for many years, I will never talk about it. I will be so embarrassed that I thought that something is really wrong with me. So I will avoid any way for us to bring it out to the communication. So again, think about how many times you are on a daily basis in a conversation with somebody that you read something, you read something, or you need to write something. Or like think about reading and writing on a daily activity that you have with people try to imagine have this activity with no ability to read and write, and not comfortable enough to tell them that you can't read and write.
Right.
Think about that. So this is how I lived my life. Now, obviously, this energy got stuck inside of me, and eventually, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that really nearly paralyzed me. And and eventually, I understood it's all about energy. It's we. I was able to understand that me living in this secret and in these limitations, I paid the price in my body.
Mm, gotcha. Okay. So then what choices did you make or what did you change to change that?
Beside everything,
Yeah. Maybe just like some first, like what would, like if you were telling somebody, like what would your first steps be as a recommendation to somebody? Like, hey, if you really want to change something going on with your health, these are the things that I did to change that.
so uh, credit to my uh, ex-wife that she was really she was in the she opened up many doors for me. She was a massage therapist, so she did definitely open up a lot of doors for me. And on the flip side of being in this world of limitations of myself, on the other side, I did know that I can be successful and I can be creating things. So and I am a great overcomer. Like this is something that I really became great is overcomer. So I built up multiple businesses with my limitations. And the only reason that I build up these businesses is because I did never want to put myself in a position that I work for somebody and this person will say, "Hey, Joel, read this report. Joel, tell us what you think. Hey, go in front of the group and tell them." Like I could not. I had to protect my secret so much that I built a full life with a lot of success in it, just to protect the secret. So I know in my mind that I can overcome this as well. So yeah. Oh, here is another obstacle for me to overcome. And I went to a nutritionist that it was on point from day one. Like it was, "Hey Joel, this is what's going on in your body. We did some tests and it was on point. This is how we can stop the the progression of the disease." He said, he said that he didn't believe that I'd be able to restore my body, but at least we'll be able to stop it. So so I say, "Hey, you don't know me, and I will be able to restore." And I did. I was able, and I'm still till this day restoring my body. Um, but at the time, when I was walking with the cane, and when I was walking, there were times that I could not walk. So I got rid of the cane, and I've been exercise on a daily basis. Life is great today. But it's the overcoming. But and the first step that I did, it was the to do and not to do. This was easy for me, and for some people, it's really hard. So I changed all my diet. I stopped drinking coffee, and I stopped drinking. I mean, I mainly was drinking coffee. I don't drink any soda or any alcohol very rarely. So from drinking, it was mainly stopping drinking coffee and just focusing on drinking water. And changed my diet, completely changed my diet. Eventually, I became a vegan, and but this was again for me, do and not do. It's easy for some people. It's really hard. Took supplements, and then I start feeling better. So this was the first thing that I did to start to heal my body. When I emotionally collapse, this is when I dig into my soul. And this is really where, because the to do and not to do that, it was about 2 years prior to when my mom passed away and and and, and my wife left. And so this was about 2 years prior to that that I got my physical body better. But still, there was a huge jump in the moment that I took care of my soul, not only my body. It's impact my body so much that it was an amazing, amazing experience once I took care of my soul. And I talk about it in my book, and I had my therapist say that I built a team Joel, and I had a team Joel. I didn't do it by myself. Like I had people in every area of my spiritual world that helped me to heal. So it's people that were spiritually connected, and acupuncture, and massage therapist, and yoga, and anything that I could do just to slow down. And I started reading the Buddha. I went to some Buddha events. I went to any other event that I could go to. And just I was so thirsty. I would drink everything from that world. And yeah, this is probably, yeah. Did they answer your question?
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that you're like, okay, it really changed when I took care of my soul instead of because we can take care of our bodies. We can do things that will help our bodies and make our bodies, but to have that lasting long change often does come from the soul level. So that's beautifully put. Um, so tell us a little bit. I'd love to know a little bit about your book. It's called The Eggshell Effect. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's about and what inspired you to write it?
Sure. Let me just say one more thing about the previous question or about your comment. When we pray, we're putting our hands together, and symbols for that is basically putting our body, mind, and soul into one. And often we as people taking care of our body because it's do not to do, or some people, hey, give me this pill, give me this surgery, whatever it is that people taking care of the body. But and sometimes people take care of their mind. There's a lot of help to that. But combined taking care of our body, mind, and soul as one, I think that this is where the miracles happen, is when we are able to take care of all of it as a one thing. It's body, mind, and soul. We can, and we do it. We only sometimes taking care of one area that is the easiest or the most noticeable to take care of, and we
Yep.
neglect the other areas that need to be taken care of as well.
Mhm. True.
And
Very true.
my book,
Yeah, I'd love to hear about your book. Yes.
great. So after 2013, when I share with you what happened uh, and the wow experience and the spiritual experience that happened, and really understanding uh, the amount of control and limitation that fear had in my life. Uh, One of my coaches, we would talk often. We would talk probably in the beginning, we'd talk once a week, and then probably every other week. And we stay in close friendship until about a year ago, until she passed away. And she was a big part of my childhood and growing up in Israel, and she was a big part of my awakening experience. And she said, Joel, you really touching into some points about how fear impacts your life in a way that I never heard about it before. Maybe you should write a book about it. And she knew about my dyslexia. She knew about my limitations of reading and writing. And I said, you know, I can't do that. She said, Joel, you can do anything. What do you mean you can't do that? So I found eventually I found a ghostwriter that helped me to write the book. And even then it took actually the third ghostwriter. We were able to complete the book together. And it took a few years. And the book is really there to support people to get them into my journey, but really to reflect their journey. As we're all unique, we are all special. We all have our own story. We all have our own experience. And the the fear energy is something that's running each and every one of us. And even once we're becoming aware of the fear energy still can be there. It's just for how long it's going to impact our action or reaction or survival. So it's always there. And the purpose of the book is to help people to find the moment that their life got kidnapped by the energy of fear. And from that moment on, they start surviving life, reacting to life, and eventually walk them to the journey of going from reacting and surviving to creating. And in my experience and in my working with people and myself, and really I've been blessed to help a lot of people through this journey, is that energetically we source everything that we do from two opposite energies. It's either we're surviving and reacting from the energy of fear, and not everything that coming from the energy of fear is necessarily a bad thing. Okay. Sometimes we're creating amazing things through survival. However, we're losing the joy of creating that. So either we're creating from the energy of fear, either we're surviving from the energy of fear, or either we're creating from the energy of love. If we are really, really true to ourselves, everything that we do, if we're asking, hey, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I say that? If we're willing really to be vulnerable and truthful with with ourselves, we will see that this is the only two areas that we're creating from. And so my commitment for the people that choosing to read the book, people that choosing to work together with me, is for them to find the moment that life was kidnapped by fear, to complete the energy from that moment. And from that moment on, they have the ability to choose that they did not have the ability to choose before that, because this is the way that they think that life has to be.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Joel. And thank you for sharing your story. I just, I love that what happened for you, like, gave you a life of love and fulfillment and health, like that all of those things came from your spiritual awakening. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank
And
you.
anyone listening, yeah, please check him out, Joel Holc, HOLC @.com. And his book is The Eggshell Effect. So if you feel like you're somebody who's struggling with fear, or have a point in your life that you developed this belief of fear, I highly recommend reading the book and getting a hold of Joel and working through that. So yes, thank you, Joel, for being a guest with us today, and all that you shared for everyone. And
Thank you for having me.
thank you, everyone, for listening. Please like, subscribe, or share if you got something from this episode. We want more people to know that they're not alone, and that there is help out there to get through whatever awakening, as we all begin to awaken to a whole new reality. And of course, if you know of anyone who has a home with some weird stuff going on, please send them to the free homeclearingquiz.com. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.